Okay, this is Brian. We're doing some perspective here. And we started, I got this pretty much, a couple of the elements already set up. So I've got my top view of my doghouse. And one thing I did, which I don't know if you guys did this also, but do you see from the top view I actually drew the wall thickness. And that helps me, when I'm projecting it out, figure out how big the door opening and everything was. So, but what we're going to do is top. I'm going to make a duplicate of this layer. Ooh, that's weird. Let's try that again. Duplicate. All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to just pick my station point somewhere. And I'm realizing that the best thing actually is to start your drawing at the bottom and work upward. So there's my. So first thing I'm going to do is find my station point. That's the point where the person is standing, and I'm just picking a point here, pretty much in the center, but down near the bottom, with enough room that I can still map things out from it. I don't want to go off my paper, so that's my station point. That's the top view or where the person is standing. Make my brush a little bit bigger. Next thing, I want to draw my center line of vision. And I'm going to do that on another layer so I don't draw through my doghouse here. Let's do a whole new layer. So this is my center line of vision. And I put a ruler on here because I wanted to show you guys that this is really specific and important. So let's say in this particular case, I want the person to be set distance away from the doghouse. So here's my little ruler, and I've got foot measurements marked off on that. Let's make that transparent. And then there's my doghouse. So let's go back to my top view. Is this it? Yeah. And I'm going to turn the doghouse so that I am not looking at a side view, which would create a one-point perspective. So I'm rotating a little bit. And as I mentioned before, if you rotate it close to parallel, your one vanishing point is going to be way off in space. And if you're too flat, it's going to be 1 point perspective. And if you're 45 exactly, that's going to give you the equal amounts. It's a little bit better just to go slightly off, not too far off. All right, so this is 6 feet away. That should be plenty to not get any distortion. And so my ruler is telling me, I'm going to use that up above too, but the house, I believe, was 3 feet wide, and I'm 6 feet away. Was it 3 feet or 2 feet? 2 feet. It was 2 feet wide, okay. And I could measure the house as well, so it should be all to scale. So yeah, I have to rotate it back, but yeah, it looks like it's 2 feet. All right, so there's the top view of the house. Now, this is where I was showing you guys that it's easier to draw your picture plane touching the house. Now, you could do it in the front, which I did last time, and that makes it pretty easy. You could also do it in the back, touching that back corner, but you just have to be aware which one you're doing, project everything forward. The back one, it will give your drawing a little bit more bigger, but I'm going to do the front because that's what we did last week. I think this is the easiest way to set it up. So next thing I got to do is, as you recall, we got to get some parallel lines that are going to help me find my vanishing points on that picture plane. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this my ruler parallel to this. And if you guys don't have those adjustable triangles yet, you need to get them. So now through my station point, up to my picture plane, I found my first vanishing point on the picture plane. We got to still transfer that up, but VP. Now I got to do the same for the other side. And gonna wrap that up. And once again, I'm using a program called Sketchbook Pro, and I like this little ruler feature that they have. Photoshop doesn't really have the same nice little ruler thing, so I find this is easier, and it's cheaper. It's like $100. I think you can get a student one for even cheaper. And you can get a demo version as well if you want to try this out for free. That's like 16 days or something or other. Okay, so these are two parallel lines that match. This one matches this surface, and this one is parallel to that surface, and we found the points where they crossed over the lines, right? So we're all good there. All right, next step is I'm going to start with my, I got to decide how high up am I viewing this box from. So I want to be just slightly above it. So I think the house was, let's see, how tall is my house? Get to my ruler. Sorry, wrong layer. It's one thing when you draw with all these layers, it's kind of, you got to keep track of what layer you're on. It's a little confusing sometimes. All right, so my doghouse, I'm going 0. It is exactly 3 feet tall. So I'm going to view it from maybe well, let's go back to the human height. So let's go 5 feet tall. So in this particular, I already set up this side view. And now I need to set up my ground plane and my horizon line. So I am going to go back to this one. So my ground plane is going to be right along the bottom of this. And my horizon line, we decided is going to be 5 feet, right? So I'm using this exact same ruler. And everything should be in proportion to itself. And I could turn off my ruler. And now I got to transfer up, I'll do that in red, transfer up my vanishing points, 1 and 2. So these are, oops, that's the ground plane. Let's go all the way up. So all the way up to my horizon line. This is VPR, right? And go up with the other one. And there is VP left. All right, so now I need to start mapping out my cube. And in that case, what do I need to do? Somebody quickly tell me. Say again? To which point? Visual plane. From what point?
From the standing plane.
Exactly, right. So we've got to go from our station point out. Basically, we got to find, and the ruler on this thing stays where it is, so I have to reset it if I zoom. But in this case, I need to just go to my picture plane, which I decided to put in front of the thing. Now I'm going to just fan out. I'm drawing, that's this corner is right there. I'll just draw the whole thing out. But I actually don't need to draw the whole line. I just need that point. So, but I'm going to draw them in there so we can follow. This corner is touching the picture plane right there, so I don't really need to map that one out. Now I'm going to zoom out again. Get that last point, but I've got to reset this up. Oops, station point, and up to that back corner. And now I got to come backwards and project that into there. Now I'm going to do my roof line too, just to have that available. So that's this point right here, and is there. And the other point is the other side of that roof peak, which is right there. Represents that point. All right, so I've got my basic starting lines, right? Now what do I have to do? Anybody? Yep. So I'm going to change the color again, and now I'm kind of a gray, oops, I changed my color. Bluish color. So this is going to transfer them up, and this is where some people make the mistake. They either transfer them right from the object, which you're not doing. You transfer, they have to be adjusted in perspective. You want to find the true dimension on the picture plane. So I'm transferring up from the picture plane. And you'll notice if you screw this up, it ends up making the house look really wide. All right. And there's the last one. And actually, I should go up a little higher, but we can map that out further. All right, so once again, this corner, let's pick a new color, light blue. This corner right there is on this drawing. You can see, notice the peaks are the little dormers there. The actual peak of the roof is here. So if this is the peak of the roof, you can see the door. It's basically represents this side right here. Because if I zoom in, I can see this is my doorway going in because it's got the width of it marked off already. And the apex of the roof is pointing that way. And it doesn't matter so much, but I'm just pointing out that that is representing this piece of the wall that's touching the picture plane. So that means that this is accurate height that I can transfer in. And I can transfer all these measurements in, but let's do them one at a time. So this corner represents this one, which is touching, and I follow it up. Let's go up, up, up. It's a little bit different than I drew there. Up, up, up to there. Okay, so that is my first line. The next corner, we'll do this outside corner here, which we transferred in. So it's this line, so it's going to be my outermost edge is this one. So that's going to go up. Now we need to figure out the vanishing point. Let me get this just filling up here. Get my vanishing points in there. So now I can start transferring back to my vanishing point left and right. And I go right down to the bottom of my ground plane and transfer this up to that point, and this is the actual height of it, so I could start there, transfer this back, and this is the back wall. So I've got one side of my cube already, right? Everybody following me there? And now I got to do the other side. So that is this point we're doing, and that point is transferred backwards to here, and then upward to here. And you'll see that this one is going to be a little bit more foreshortened, but let's get our... So we're going to go all the way to this vanishing point, and there, and then from the top of this back, and like I said, this line was a little bit short, but that's okay. It's going to go up to there. And so there is the two sides of my cube. At this point, I could trace out those back corners, or I could do it from my vanishing point. So I can use this and go to this corner right here and draw backwards, and then I could do the opposite over here, vanishing point, and go from this corner going back. So I found this back point. And I'm going to draw this like it's see-through because we need all the different sides. We need to be able to find those flag poles, so I need to know where it lands on the ground. So it's right there. So if I did all this correctly, this should connect with that, and it does. So there's one cube. Now, the other way I could do this is to say, all right, well, whoops, sorry. This back wall is right there. I trace that back to this point when which goes back to my station point. And then I go up, 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 and that should line up. Oh, look at that, perfect. Lines up right up with that edge. So I did everything pretty accurately. So you should be able to get to everything with like 3 or 4 different ways to get there. If you try a couple of the ways and they match up, you know you're doing good. If something doesn't match up, then you probably missed a step there somewhere. So it's a good thing it's like checking your math. All right, so let's do the roof line now. And this is where I was kind of talking about you can do it a couple different ways, but the one way is to look at it is to draw this center line all the way down to the base of this. Another way is to actually look at this like it's a much taller box, and then we'll carve away that top part. Let's do that first because that's easiest. So if it were a taller box up to the peak line, that transfers over to this front line, which is the corner that's touching, so that should be true height. And then I got to go back in perspective again to this corner. And there's my height line, there's my... So there's the beginning of my taller box. Sorry. And let's draw the other side there. Is everybody following me so far? Good. Unanimous. I actually have a whole group of people here. You wouldn't believe it, but... All right, so let's go there, and the last one from this point to this corner. Okay, so this is a taller box. Again, a couple different ways we could do this. We could divide this in half and find the center and just connect them. So let's try that first. So divide in half by, let me try this one instead. I can just draw diagonals, find my center, project up to this point, and I'm going to start changing my color here. Let's go to a little bit darker blue. Okay, so there's the peak of my roof, and back into perspective again. That side, and we'll draw this line to there. And so there is the apex of the roof, and now, like I said, I could just connect the dots from there down. It's kind of thick. There down to there, there to there, and then from here where to? This one? Bingo, we got it. Okay, so we've got our house, and let me darken in the outside here so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, so there's that's all that we need to do is for the house. And let me see.